make more money, get leads in real estate Facebook group. And that's kind of ideas that come up. And he's like, hey, you should talk to her. But I looked at I was going to have you do an intro, but I did look at your page and I didn't see initially that you had a realtor training, but I see something now.
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. It looks like a revamp of I love the site. Love your site.
Okay, yeah, we're working on some things now. 2019, everything's going to look fabulous.
So I read your story. You were on your way to New York. You broke your foot. You tried to come up with something fashionable. You end up creating these fashionable boot covers.
Yep.
And you called them?
It's Cosmetic Designs, and the products are called Medi Fashions.
Yeah, and so that started, and I resonated with your story only that I am always trying to either do myself or tell the real estate agents, just because that's what I've been doing for 17 years, how to get more exposure just on your own or free. Yeah. And so I really like that. That's a lot of what got you to where you were on TV and in news and in articles, because there's so much we can do that we're not doing. And so anyway, so tell me what prompted you to create the fashion? You were just trying to come up with something at the time for the boot covers?
Yeah, it was miserable. It was so ugly. And then when you're in a boot, you meet lots of other people in boots. Like, you don't realize it until you're in it. And I would just start asking people in New York, I'm like, what if you could make it fashionable? And everybody was like, oh my gosh, I would buy something in a second. Like, this is awful. So that's where the idea came from, and everybody loved it. And then I over manufactured, and I spent all my money, and we mortgaged the house. And then it was like, oh crap, people don't know they need to decorate their medical boots. Like, how am I going to tell people? It's this whole new idea, this whole new concept. So that's where the PR came in, because it was free. It was like, wow, if I get on TV, I can get hundreds of thousands or millions of people to learn about my product. So it was really a game changer. And as I started to do it and started to realize how powerful it was, and then other people started reaching out to me. They're like, how are you doing this? You need to teach people how to do this. Like, we're all trying to do this. What are you doing? And I kind of figured out a system. And then I got involved with real estate agents about 3 or 4 years ago. Love working with them. I have so many clients that are real estate agents, and they're doing this stuff and seeing amazing results.
I think that the old adage of, like, if a real estate agent wants to become the authority, they write a book. I'm one of those people, got book, but there's so much more. And that's kind of what I wanted to kind of exploit today, because a lot of people, like, either they're not interested in doing a book, or that doesn't really matter because you have to do something with the book. Right. So that's kind of, I wanted to appeal to everyone and really talk about, well, now you've got this free course that people can sign up for, or you're coming into brokerages, basically.
Yeah, I come into brokerages and I train, and then I have a paid group coaching program that I don't know, I probably have 60 real estate agents in, and they all worry. They're like, well, how can we all be in a group coaching together? I'm like, because you're all different. Even if 5 of you focus on first-time home buyers, you're all focusing differently, and you're focusing with different friends and family and different areas, different cities, so we've had no conflicts. Everybody, doesn't matter, it works, and you figure out what resonates with you. I help people with that, and then we just start targeting those people.
Okay, so what is the types of media that you gravitate to tell people about first? Obviously, if there's TV, newspaper, radio, not newspaper, but online web, like picking up the articles, press releases. But what do you say when someone first comes in and says, okay, what do I do first? And actually, part of your training is how to get listings and buyers by using the media. So what is kind of the first couple things that you recommend that people do?
So it really depends where you are and what you've done. And this works for agents who started yesterday and agents who've been around for 20 years. We just position you differently. You're now affiliated with this new company. Nobody needs to know that you had never sold real estate, and you have a history. We all have experiences in what we've done. Worked with a lot of CPAs, a lot of attorneys who are now in real estate. And it's like, well, that's brilliant. I mean, you bring all that experience to the table. But so one of the easiest things that I always tell real estate agents they can do, and this works, it's your comfort level. Are you comfortable being on TV? Don't pitch TV the first time if you have never done a video, you've never done an interview. That's not a good idea. Like, you don't want to
Yeah.
bomb the first time out. But if you've done this stuff and you're comfortable with it, so take a national trend and bring it local. Inman, Trulia, National Association of Realtors, Realtor.com, they're always doing studies. Set your Google alerts. Find out what they're talking about. And like, I'm in the DC metro area, and we're kind of an anomaly because we have so much transient housing because of the government and military. You know, we've got an election coming up. Everything could change, you know, so people are moving in and out of town. You just don't know what's going to happen. So take that trend. And usually here it's like, well, this is the new trend, but it's not going to happen here because. But if we stay on track with this, this will happen to us eventually, or something like that. Bring it, know your market. Don't just tell the media, oh, interest rates are up, interest rates are down, inventory's up, inventory's down. Give them meat. Give them something really good that you can talk about that's really valuable. So when you asked about it, is TV or newspaper or whatever, any of them are good because you're going to go to your listing with your printout of your article, whether it's online or you're going to have your recording of your television segment. It's all powerful. And then when you're talking to your people in your listing, you're going to say, oh, you know what? I was just quoted in this article. Let me show you. You know, this is my thing, depending on what it is and what you're talking about. Just had an agent who was on NBC, like big NBC News, about home valuation. So how powerful is that when he's in a listing presentation and the sellers always want more money, right? And then you can say, but look, I was just on NBC News because I'm the expert in valuing properties and putting them on so they sell quickly. And I sell 99% of my listings in a week. Yeah. Who do you think, you know, like that kind of stuff? It's just that credibility, that authority, that power. So it's where you're comfortable. It doesn't really matter where it is. No, I would say nothing is better than anything else, especially as a realtor, because you're local. So your local newspaper is just as powerful as your local television is.
So your suggestion really for them is to either be in an article to be quoted for something, which is the common thing where people gather a bunch of comments and a group of people and their feedback and they get them into, to go be a contributor of an article, write an article. But what about the news stations?
Yeah, and don't write an article. That's really important. Don't write an article unless you're asked to write an article. You always want to pitch, you know, 1 or 2 sentence pitch, bullet, 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 in a bio, like a little bio of you. You don't want to don't spend the time writing an 800-word article. Usually they're just going to quote you anyway. One of my clients, his whole thing is that he sells houses using Facebook ads, and he's brilliant at it. So he pitched the Washington Post that story idea, and they loved it. The problem was nobody there could write the article because nobody knows how to sell a house using Facebook ads. So they actually asked him to write the article, and then they edited it. You know, then a professional journalist edited it for Washington Post standards. But I had never seen that happen before in all my years of doing this.
Where they ask him to write the article?
Yes. Usually they're quoting you and your quote goes in the article, or, you know, I sat down with blah, blah, and, you know, here's what they had to say. But it's very rare. So don't spend the time writing an 800, 1,000-word article unless the publication specifically asks you to do it.
Okay. So what about if someone wants to jump straight to TV? I mean, obviously, if they're real estate agents and they want to jump to TV, being in real estate, that's kind of, you know, versus a lot of real estate agents do other things and they have other businesses. So I'm sure that a lot of them are going to want to listen to this and say, well, how can I make that work with my other business?
Sure.
Not that everyone is part-time, but everyone seems to have multi-entrepreneurial people, right?
I do have several businesses. I get it.
Yeah. So, I think that what's talked about the most is articles because help a reporter out, and there's like all these, like, Inman gets contributions. But if you want to go straight to how do we get on TV, what would you suggest?
The first thing is do your homework. So I always love to tell the story. I have a regular segment on my local ABC station on a program called Good Morning Washington. And when I did the pitch, I work with a lot of inventors because I invented a product. So it's a product-based segment.
Okay.
So when I pitched them specifically on purpose because I knew it was a perfect segment for that morning show. If I had pitched my NBC station, they would have been like, we don't have a show like this. Like, why are you pitching this? This doesn't make any sense. So you really need to know, for a real estate story, and depending on what it is, make sure it flows with either their morning show or if they have a 12 o'clock show.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. I said I'm in DC, so we're very businessy. We're very government. We don't have a lot of the fun morning shows. I've got family out in Seattle. Every single station has a morning, like really fun shows. And then, you go to the fun show, to the Today Show or Good Morning America, and then you got another fun show after that. So, if you want to find that, like if you want to talk about staging a house, you can come on, you can bring an interior decorator with you, and you could say, hey, we're going to, use your table and use your sofa, use your table and pull some stuff in, and we're going to stage the set as if it's a house. But you have to know that they have that stuff, that they would do it. So just
where are you getting the information to pitch them? If people said, okay, great, I have ideas I want to pitch. So what are they? I mean, obviously, like media outlets. I have a list of media outlets that I do from my publisher that I work with for my book that he gave me. But what are you recommending if you want to go contact all the TV shows?
Everybody write this down.
Okay.
Google. It's really,
which is kind of what I do when I'm like, okay, who's the journalist for blank? You go out to the Washington Post, you scroll down, here's how you submit something. That's it. Okay.
It really is. And pick up the phone, call the television station. Hey, I have this really great real estate based story. X, Y, and Z happened across the country, and I totally see it on Good Morning Washington. May I please have the name of the producer and their email address so I can send the story in? And I'm telling you, no media outlet ever has hung up on anyone saying, I'm sorry, we're not taking new stories today. Click. It doesn't happen.
Right.
They're a news, they need us.
Right.
So they're going to tell you exactly the right person to contact. That's their job, is to collect stories. So it's getting over that fear. I mean, the first time I called the Today Show, it was awful. I'm like, The second time I called, it was, well, why do you need this? And it was like, boom, 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 confidence, confidence, confidence. And they gave me everything I needed. So you have to have that, know your goal, because you've done your homework.
Right.
So you know that this story fits on this show at this time. And same thing like the Today Show. You have to know what you're pitching. The 7 to 8 o'clock hour is hard news. Don't find that producer and pitch, a soft, fluffy story. It's not going to get covered in that hour. You have a much better chance in the 8 o'clock hour, the 10 o'clock hour. I always say that extra little bit of homework will help you have so much success. So,
I'm going to throw some kind of random stuff out because I
Sure.
have talked to a lot of people about like this, they have big dreams and all this. So what if someone wants to be on like the Oprah show, the Steve Harvey show? Like what if someone's, let's just say in and out of real estate, if they want to try to get on a show for a specific reason because they have something of value. Call.
Yeah, I will tell you. Well, Steve Harvey just got canceled. So Kelly Clarkson is the new show. So that's the thing. And she's fun. She's bubbly. We don't know exactly what her format is yet. Ellen is a fortress. I will not lie to you. I have pitched the Ellen show. I have the contacts. I can follow up on the phone. But but if you watch Ellen and Ellen, they love to find their stories on social media. So you better make sure you've got video, you've got stuff. She loves entertaining videos. That's the stuff. I would get all of my friends, all of my colleagues to be tagging her in this video that I've done. So that's how you get to Ellen. 90% of her stories are, we saw this video on YouTube, we saw this on social media. So again, doing your homework, yeah, you can pitch a producer, but that's not what she likes. She likes to find her own stuff.
So it really is down to first figure out where you want to be and then do the research, just because then you got to figure out, okay, well, they take them by phone call or take them by email or they're going on. So figure it out and then just work that angle. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, just if you work it and you do your homework, you'll really be surprised how much success you can have.
I think the biggest, this is funny because it always comes down to this, is like, you got to know what you want first.
Yeah.
Because I know it sounds funny, but it's like in goals in general in life, it's like, why do we not get what we want? Because we haven't figured out what we want yet. So it's kind of like, figure out where you want to be on, first start with maybe contributions. So when you're doing the realtor training, you're basically showing these are the media outlets that will most likely get you more listings and more buyers.
No, I show them resources. I show them ways to pitch. You mentioned Harrow. Harrow is huge for real estate agents, huge. I have one of my Keller Williams agents, and I need to catch up with him. He was in Realtor.com 30 times in 6 months. He was in Women's Health magazine, all real estate related. So again, you're at a listing appointment, and the Women's Health magazine article was all about the stress on a couple when you're listing your house, especially if you have kids, like how do you deal with it? And his whole thing was, I hold their hands every step of the way. So you imagine you're going in, it's a young couple selling their first house, and you can say, oh, here's my article from Women's Health magazine where they quoted me, this is my strength. Like, you will have no extra stress. I'm going to help you every step of the way. I'm here for you. Who do you think is going to get that listing? He is. So I teach people how to use the non-traditional calendar, how to take crazy holidays. I actually had an agent who on her card literally said senior citizen specialist. And August 21st is Senior Citizen Day. I said, you should be on every television station on August 21st talking about real estate and senior citizens. Like, that's her. I teach them how to niche.
Yeah.
There's an agent in Tampa, Florida. Do you know the story about the naked realtor?
No.
So it's Keller Williams agent. She's in Tampa. She's selling real estate. She's making, 50 grand, 70 grand a year. Well, and I just learned all this. Tampa has the most nudist communities of anywhere in the United States.
Is that right?
And I'm having a lot of fun with my friends who have kids at University of Tampa. But she niched herself, the naked realtor, and she can still sell houses to you, to me, to anybody, but her specialty are these communities. Well, everybody who's moving in these communities or moving out of these communities is going to her because she lives there. Like, that's her thing. She's like one of the top, if not the top team in Florida now. She's one of Keller Williams' top groups because she niched.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. So I teach agents how to do that. What is your, what's your target on the, on the target? What's your red circle? That's how you get publicity. That's how you get more customers. And everybody thinks, oh, I have to sell to everybody. But when you narrow it down, you'll be surprised how much you can still sell to all these people. You can still sell to your friends and family. But when you niche, people find you and you will grow your business.
You're literally like repeating what, like, I've preached this for so many years, which is niche marketing, and written articles about it. And sometimes I think the people are getting sick of hearing it from me but it is true that the smaller you get, the more you make.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you're not losing this, you're gaining this. You're gaining everybody. Another agent who likes to work with women going through a divorce. So what are you going to do if you're going through a divorce? You're Googling, I'm going through a divorce, I need to sell my house. And in this area, she's going to come up. She's written like 8, you talked about books. She's written like 8 books on divorcing and selling your house. She can still sell to anybody, but she's getting all those people. And guess what? 50% of all marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
So
clients.
That's a lot of clients. People are like, well, I don't get that. I'm like, you can do the math.
Yeah.
Figure this out.
Of every single person in Washington, D.C. is going to use it.
Yeah, it works. It really is something. And if you've been saying it and we've never met before, now I'm saying it from a different perspective, but the same perspective, because not only your customer base, but also in getting media. Because that's the story.
I mean, like, what you're not interesting unless you can get very specific, like even writing. Like, I do like writing press releases and seeing how many people can pick, and like that title is got to be exactly, and like you said, specific, and also kind of pulling in maybe what's going on in the country. If you can tag something that like, oh, that's happening this quarter or this month.
The agent that I talked about who got the Facebook ads article in the Washington Post, his hook was, this was last year, and it was when all the stuff came out about Facebook and the election, and his hook was, if the Russians can can hack the election, you should be if the Russians can hack the election using Facebook ads, you should be able to sell your house the same way.
Which is kind of taken off on what's going on, so it's active in people's mind, and it's like funny, yeah.
And they loved it. So that got them to read the email, and then they loved the story idea.
That's awesome. So what's the most outside the box PR that you've gotten, kind of other than just the basic 3? I don't know, just anything that kind of is.
I did a guerrilla marketing stunt to get on the Today Show. That worked. Which doesn't happen very often. So I got 42 seconds of airtime, which is over $100,000 of free advertising. And they said to me, we're not going to put you on. We're not going to put your product on. We're not allowed to do that. And I don't know what changed. I'm a big universe person, but the universe opened, and Savannah and Carson, they were calling me the boot lady, and they panned in and out every time. They showed my website, which if you watch the Today Show, they never show websites. Never, ever, ever. So that's probably the craziest thing I've done. And it cost me $40 in a bus ticket to go to New York.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So
that's
it
awesome.
was a game changer, totally worth it.
So what were you doing before you broke your foot, actually? What were you doing before you did the PR?
Yeah, I owned a retail store for almost 10 years and was burned out. Anyone's done retail, I just didn't have another Christmas season in me. As a store owner, it was like Thanksgiving and Christmas. I didn't see my kids. I didn't travel with the family. So I was in my mid 40s. I was like, oh, good, I'll retire. And then
oh my gosh, yeah.
I broke my foot, and always an entrepreneur. So that just led to all of this, which is just steamrolled, and I fell into the real estate thing, but I love it. I'm so excited. There's so much opportunity for real estate agents to get out there, get publicity, get visibility, even on social media. There's such a big learning curve, but once they learn it, it's like the sky's open. It's amazing.
Yeah. So now you're basically going from place to place and teaching people, and you're teaching online. Yeah. And like you said, like kind of like a membership. And it's kind of evolved. Like, that's amazing. And I love what you're doing now. And like, your life has changed so much as far as what you're doing. Yeah. You probably wake up every morning and love what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Totally love it. I'm a new empty nester, and everyone's like, aren't you so sad? I'm like, no, my kids are doing great. I'm having a blast. It's all good. It's all good.
Now you get to travel more, and
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I would love to have you on to do another training, or kind of set it up to where like this training that you're doing. So to do that, you basically sign up, and then you schedule a time, and then you're kind of speaking at that point to everyone live.
Yeah. We set up a webinar and do the full training to your whole audience. So yeah, we can totally talk about that, and get it all set up.